I'm at Sydney Kingsford Smith Airport in Australia to fly on the Qantas A380 up to Los Angeles in their Premium Economy cabin. The check-in area for Qantas is open pretty much all day, but you can only get a printed boarding pass as well as your bags checked about 4 hours before your departure time. However, if you are able to get a mobile boarding pass on your phone, you can pass through customs and security anytime you want to. My aircraft for this flight up to Los Angeles will be VHOQL, an Airbus A380 that was delivered directly to Qantas in December of 2011, but went into storage in July of 2020 due to COVID and went in and out of storage a couple of times before coming out for good in May of 2025, less than 3 months before I took this flight. It's hard to tell from far away just how big the A380 is, but you can really get a feel for it by looking out the windows just before you board the aircraft. The Qantas Premium Economy cabin has 60 seats in a 232 configuration. To learn more about the other cabins on board this aircraft, please see my video from when I took the re-inaugural A380 flight out of Dallas. Just a little bit of a warning for those in the Premium Economy cabin. Try to avoid seats 38K and 39K, as there is a vent going up the side of the aircraft, so there are no storage compartments next to you, severely limiting the space next to your arms. It's not a deal breaker, but it does give you a little bit of extra space having those storage compartments there, especially for really long flights that they put these A380s on. My seat for this flight up to LAX would be 34A. Waiting for me at my seat was a pillow as well as a blanket, noise-canceling headphones, and amenity kit, water bottle, as well as the food menu for the flight up to LAX. After sitting down, they also brought around juice or champagne. I'll go over the seat features as well as the onboard service offering more once we're in the air.
QF 11 service from Sydney to Los Angeles. My name's Terry O'Brien, I'm your captain today, and I'd just like to pass on the flight details for our journey across the Pacific tonight. We're just a few moments away from departing. We're just loading the last of the bags in the rear of the aircraft, and we'll be getting underway. Very short taxi, only about 5 to 10 minutes taxi time, taking off towards the south. A series of left-hand turns, and then setting course for a position just to the south of the islands of Samoa. From there, turning left a little and heading up past Christmas Island, and then from there on to Los Angeles. Total flight time is 13 hours, and at this stage we're still looking good for a on-time arrival of 2:25 p.m. on Thursday in Los Angeles. We are arriving on the same day we depart due to crossing the date line. Our scheduled arrival time is 2:25, and at this stage we're looking good for an on-time arrival. Weather en route is forecast to be mainly smooth flying conditions. Just a reminder though that whenever you are seated, keep your seatbelts fastened for your own safety and the safety of those around you, just like we do here in the flight deck, just in case we...
Thank you for choosing to fly Qantas.
go over some seat features and the IFE before the food comes out. There was a good amount of room between my knees and the seat in front of me, as well as room at my feet, even with the bag under my seat. This switch on the seat bag does operate the footrest, which is especially helpful considering the long flights that Qantas does put these aircraft on. The seat back pocket is good sized and can fit larger items as well as laptops and small purses, and is also where the safety card and in-flight magazine are located. On your seat back just above the footrest switch is the USB-A port for device charging. However, if you do need an actual power outlet, they are located in between the seats in front of you, and do offer many power outlet options for the destinations they frequently fly to, such as Australia, Europe, the United Kingdom, as well as the North American plug type. If you're at a window seat in the Premium Economy class, unless you're at those two seats I mentioned earlier, you'll have these storage compartments between you and the window. They are quite large, and it's where I put my camera as well as my pillow and blanket when I'm not using it, along with a handful of other larger items that I didn't want to put at my feet. And there's plenty of storage space to put not only your items, but also the person in the aisle seat's items as well. As we're heading out over the open ocean after the sun has already gone down, the views do become pretty minimal after this point in the flight, as the lights on the Australian coastline do fade into the distance. On the inside of your armrest there is a second USB-A port, along with headphone jacks and the button for your seat recline. As for the IFE system, they have so many movies and TVs to watch, it's simply just impossible to go over all of them, but trust me when I say there are plenty of things to do for the really long flights that Qantas does operate with these planes. In addition to movies and TV, they also have games for kids and adults, along with information about the wine they serve on board, along with plenty of music to listen to throughout the flight. In the information part of the IFE, they also have a section for in-flight exercises to keep your blood circulating for the long periods of time that you are sitting on the plane. There's also information about weather at your destination and origin, as well as the in-flight moving map, and of course the tail camera, which I've already shown you a little bit during takeoff. In addition, there's also a section about the menu during the flight, which I'll be going over here in a couple of minutes. If you are traveling with someone else and you're not seated near them, you can also use this feature called Seat Chat, which is essentially like texting between seats. With the start of the in-flight service coming up, I decided to take out my tray table, which is located in the armrest. Obviously, the tray table is not made of real wood due to fire code on planes, but it certainly did look like real wood, and it gave it a more appealing look, rather than just being a gray plastic tray table. About 30 minutes after takeoff is when they came around with the drink cart, as well as a bowl of warm nuts and the signature Qantas cocktail, which they call a Qantas Spritz, which contained 4 pillars of gin with fresh lemon and violet. Not long after that, they came around to take our food orders, which included the main meal, as well as the breakfast, which would be served before landing into Los Angeles. To take a look at the different food options, you can pause the video here to look at the menu. About 20 minutes later is when they brought around the food. The starter was a Greek salad topped with lemon dressing, and the main that I chose was braised Angus beef with roasted vegetables and potato mash. And on the side there was crackers as well as cheese, bread and butter. And for dessert there was a dark chocolate and sour cherry fondant cake, along with a chocolate bar. Let's go over the Amenity kit for Premium Economy. In the kit there was hand lotion, lip balm, and eye mask, along with the dental kit, which is just essentially a toothpaste as well as toothbrush, and of course earplugs. With the meal pretty much cleaned up for everybody in the entire cabin, they turned down the cabin lights so people could try and get some sleep for the long flight up to Los Angeles. This is one of those instances where the storage compartments do come very in handy, as I put my shoes as well as camera and other smaller items into there and took my pillow and blanket out of the compartment. There was a little under 2.5 hours left in the flight, meaning I got just around 8.5 hours of sleep, although I'm not really sure, as it's kinda hard to tell when you're sleeping on an airplane. As the lights in the cabin were still off, I decided to keep my window shade closed as to not disturb the people that were still sleeping. So before the meal began in a couple of hours, I decided to watch a movie, and at some point during that movie I did fall asleep again, and I did wake up to the smell of breakfast being prepared, and the cabin lights being a pink color to simulate the sunrise. Enough people had woken up by this point where I felt it was okay to open my window shade so I could see the view below, which at this point was still just the ocean. Roughly about an hour before landing at LAX is when the breakfast came out. The option I chose was the hot breakfast, which had a potato frittata with beef sausages, braised beans, sauteed greens, and mushrooms. And at the side there was a muffin as well as a fruit salad, and for a drink I had orange juice. To see the other breakfast options, you can go to the menu I had earlier in this video. As we burned fuel throughout the flight, we did climb to a higher cruising altitude, given the aircraft was lighter than when we took off.
Have you been able to get some rest during our flight up from Sydney this evening? Got some arrival information to share with you about our arrival into Los Angeles. I know some of you will be concerned about some flights that you may or may not connect with, but those with connecting flights, the team on the ground have been working to rebook you on alternative flights. Please check your Qantas app or the website for your...
Since most of the flight was over, it was nice looking at the globe in the IFE system and seeing the overview of the flight that we've pretty much completed. Now with us already having begun the descent into Los Angeles, the flight crew came around and cleaned up the breakfast and got the cabin ready for arrival. They do offer a mid-flight meal for those that are awake in the middle of the night, but since I was not one of those individuals, I decided to skip going over what they did offer on that.
For landing with your seatbelt or sash belt firmly fastened.
Being towards the back of the aircraft on a plane like the A380 makes it so you're able to see the massive flaps being extended on arrival into the airport, and as an aviation enthusiast, that's really cool to see.
welcome to Los Angeles. The current time here is just after 10 past 3 in the afternoon of Saturday, the 16th of August. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened.
That was a really good flight on Qantas from Sydney, Australia up to LAX here in the United States. This route is one of the trunk routes for the airline, and most of their airplanes do sit here for more than 24 hours, which is why they do have a maintenance facility at this airport, so that they can do the checks on their aircraft while the planes are sitting here for their flights. The crew was great on this flight and the food was amazing as well. I just hope I get to try this route again with Qantas so I can try the other options that are offered on board. I would say the only regret I have for this flight is not being awake in the middle of the night to try their Reuben grilled cheese sandwich, as that does sound really good.